Stay happy and craft, or something like that. I think that's right. Stay happy and creative. That's good too. The Shack. I hope that you're here, and I hope that Paul is in the building with me. Let's just have a look. I think we're all ready to go, and I'll just wait for you to come in then. And have you got your cup of tea? And are you ready to rock and roll with me? The Shack. Safe, happy, and creative. Stay home and craft. And now it is. Do you know, I've had a complete mental block. And my head's a bit fuzzy sometimes. Stay happy and creative. There you go. Stay happy and creative in the Shack with Barbara on a Monday at 10 o'clock. The Mondays this month in May are going to be a bit of a challenge with all the bank holidays, aren't they? But we'll work our way around it. I'm sure the bus will find a way around the bank holidays. So it's good to have your company. Come on in. Good morning, everybody. And I hope that the sun is out where you are. Has the sun got its hat on? We've got a beautiful sunny day here. I've got company. Hey, look who's with me today. This is Ragnar. He was out all night and now he's absolutely done partying and he's hanging out with Mum. I think he's feeling a little worse for wear. He followed me up the stairs this morning when I came up here, and it's just a scream, really. He's like, let me in. He sat outside on the balcony outside. He's just a lovely, lovely little boy. And I don't know where I'd be without him. And his brother, Eric and Ragnar. Eric's out now. He's foraging, terrorizing the birds, as they do. Anyway, come on in and let's get started. Everybody happy? Are we all okay? So we'll just start. We'll hang on until 10 o'clock, only because, you know, it takes a little time to find us, doesn't it? I reckon that there'll be a lot less people joining us today, but we shall see. Ragnar is so cute. Yeah, he is. They both are. They both are. And they're identical. The only way I can tell them apart, seriously, is that Eric has got a bit of a gimpy leg. The hair hasn't grown, or the fur hasn't grown back completely on the leg that he broke. Do you remember? So that's the only way. I have to lift him up, have a look at the legs, or from the behind I can see. And if he's all bushy-tailed and bushy-legged, then I know it's Ragnar. Isn't it? Eh? Yeah, he doesn't care. As long as he's fed and watered. If only life were that easy, eh? Right. I think it's nearly 10 o'clock, isn't it? Let's have a look. Oh, you can't beat a cup of tea. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Are you happy? Are you okay? I have good days and then I have growing days. I won't say bad days. Well, that's not true. I have good days and I have growing days. And yesterday was such a good day. I so enjoyed yesterday. I didn't stop making things from the morning until 9 o'clock at night when I locked the door on the pottery studio. You know, I like that. And I enjoyed Friday evening as well. Thank you so much for joining in when we went to Holland. That was quite interesting. Once I get into it, I really enjoy it. Right, come on in. Yeah. And where are you? I see a Melbourne. Wow. Good evening, Jenny. Good evening from Melbourne. So that's the time span is quite different, isn't it? How many hours? 12 hours difference? Yeah. Wow. There you go. Well, good evening, Jenny. And here it's 10 o'clock in the morning and we're going to get started. Now, the last time we got together, we were working on some vases. Do you remember? I had a plan. Bus number 303, the SHAC bus number 303 is just about to leave the station. Are you on board? This is a really, I've worked it out, this isn't copied, I've worked this out for myself, this overlay idea, but it really is so useful and it's a great technique. And I'll show you what we're up to, and then you'll see. So last time we got together, the idea is this: you separate out the areas. Back in the day, that was, well, before computers. Now on Photoshop or Illustrator, you've got all the different layers. You've got as many layers as you need. But back in the day, we used to do a mechanical paste up. Like, so we had to overlay with great big pieces of vellum. And you know, I guess the computerized version of that isn't no different. It's just a lot easier. Just lock it off, go to the next layer. You can see the other layer in a different color style. So we're learning the traditional method here. So last week we drew this one together. I'm going to stick with this one though. It's the one that I drew before that one. Exactly the same. Right. So what we did was we drew 3 vases. Very simple, quite kind of retro 60, quite modern. These would be brilliant for a lino cut actually, but maybe a bit complicated. Then we put some grasses and leaves in, didn't we? Okay. This was an A5 piece of paper, A4 piece of paper folded in half. Right, now enter the tracing pad. And this is what we're going to do today. Because now we've got our sketch, see, and you can rub it out and you can experiment. You can look at exactly how you want it to look. Right, this is your rough sketch outline. Get a plan. Okay. And once we do that, then what we're going to do, this is today's plan. We're going to take a piece of tracing paper. Let's take this out of here, and then maybe you'll see what I mean. So we take a piece of tracing paper like so, right? And we've got 2 different layers. So on the base layer, which is, there you go, look. So the base layer is an A4 piece with the vases. Now, the reason that I'm hanging on to the original ones is because this is where it came from. So you can see, right, all I've got is the outline now of the vases. Okay, so that is layer 1. Then we went to layer 2. And layer 2, we just traced the inside, but without the line art. Okay, so if you like that, but without the line art. Cool. But so that's fine though, because you can do that straight through the, you can do that straight through the tracing paper. You just keep this one in the back all the time. See? So now you've got that one and you've done the second layer. So this is just a piece of tracing paper cut in half. Again, A4 cut in half down to A5. Right, so that's that layer. Okay, let's just get that. Hang on a minute. Put this in the right place. Okay, so we've got that. Now we've done 2 layers, haven't we? So we've got the outline and we've got this. Then the third layer is the leaves. So that goes over the top. We're just having a little recap because last week we didn't get together. We had a bank holiday, didn't we? Oh, Barbara. Right, like that. So now we've separated out each of the 3 layers. That one, and then the under one, which is the outline. Okay, there you go. Deconstruction at its best. 1, 2. So the thing about doing this, right, this is what we're going to do today, is deconstruct our picture. Have you still got your picture in front of you? Have you still got this? Did you bring your picture to the party? Did you? You see, you might be able to just go straight to the canvas, but for me, I prefer this, and there are lots of reasons why. I'm going to tell you now. We'll go ahead on the bus a little bit before we come back to that. So let me show you, because yesterday, when I was in my making mode, I did a little bit of, I worked ahead a little bit, and this is where this kind of prep really comes into its own. Okay. And I learned so much yesterday. So if I can show you, right, because I think I think it's very important when you're doing something to understand why you're doing it, you know, because that's obviously, it looks clever, and then you think, what am I going to do with it? I could do it all in one. So the idea is, you see, that you can do like the negative art. You can create the vase now with no outline. So let me show you what I did. And I really had a learning experience yesterday, because I'm not an expert. I don't know everything. I really don't. The only reason that I know much is because I experiment and I practice and I work it out, you know, and then sometimes it goes wrong, and then I learn from my mistakes, and then I adjust, right? I don't think, oh, that's it, I'm useless. Not, just got to work out how to get it right. I'm no expert, but I'm no dunce either. I just need to figure it out. So yesterday, let me show you this. So yesterday, this is watercolor paper, right? This is our watercolor pad. I recommend, and I'm gonna ask you to get one of these in a minute if you haven't got one already. Now let's have a look. So what I did here, this is where the bus went off-piste. This one went down the wrong road. It went up a one-way street. And this one was then the correction. And it was all about the layers, right? Because I thought, right, because I was focused on the pattern, I thought I'll do that first. I'll do the pattern first, and then I'll put the colour in over the back. Wrong. Do the colour first, do the block first, and then put the black in. And I'll tell you why I had this learning curve, and it's good that I've done it and you haven't. Check the two out. See how sharp, how crisp that one is, right? See how this one looks muddy? It was because when I put the green over this one, the black pen, the micron pen, it bled. Even though it says that it shouldn't, it did. So perhaps we have to wait a while for this to dry, or we avoid that issue altogether and do layer number 1 first, which is the colour, then layer number 2. So exactly in the same way that we drew it together is the way that we put it on the watercolour. It's really nice to do it on watercolour. So I was thinking, right, because we're always using smooth card. Smooth is easy. But you can see here, this is just a pencil outline from the transfer. And then I've rubbed it out a little bit, and I could rub it out a bit more if I want. But I quite like a little bit of on the leaves, right? But I want to show you how to do this. Well, forget that. And then I thought, well, that's a shame really, because this is quite nice. And then I thought, right, I'm going to teach them, if you don't already know. You see that lovely edge? See, because this is obviously chopped on a guillotine, isn't it, to be in a pad, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to get that, you know, that lovely edge that we always want on watercolour, right? On both sides. It's really easy. So I'll show you how to do that, because I'm gonna cut this back so that I can use it. Otherwise it'll be a bit of a waste. All right? Cool. Do you remember these ones? That was a while ago, wasn't it? So that's where we're headed. And while I'm doing a sales pitch, because I don't usually, but this is Clarity Stamp the Bridge to Art watercolor pad. Okay, we've got 300 GSM, and it's got a texture. That's the thing. We're gonna push the boat out and do some work on textured watercolor paper. I'm into this at the moment. I'm doing loads of stuff on this at the moment, and I hope that you'll join me on my journey. So we've got the watercolor A4 pad, but we've also got these beautiful little books. These are like little journal books, and they are the same paper inside, but just little ideas. But they're also removable. So these are like little tasters. They're real cool, right? You can use them or not use them. But you can see, it's like a little diary really. But what I like is, that's a good one. There you go. But there's a little pouch in the back as well. So that's quite nice. So I think there's a special price on those. They're quite good. So those two things, and then we're going to figure out how to do that as well, because you do that on that as well. So that's rather lovely. And that's where we're headed, okay? And all I'm going to use as far as watercolour goes, if you've got a watercolour block, you know, like a Kuretake or one of the lovely, you know, like we used to use at school, the little, you know, with the little boxes of hard watercolour, you loosen them up. Great, you can use that. Or we're going to stick to what we've got because we can. We've got the watercolour pencils, and all we're going to do is use the mix mat. We're going to use a mix mat and use the watercolour pencils because you get a really good result with them as well. Okay, so that's, Barbara recommends these two. Okay, now let's get started, and we'll transfer the ink, because now you know where we're headed next week. I moved my dentist's appointment from next Monday morning so that we can crack on, because in May there are so many bank holidays. We've got to grab the days, the Mondays where we can at the moment. Right, you ready? There you go, Janet. And that's why I banter a little bit in the beginning, love, so that you can find us. You see? Because I know what it's like. I do know what it's like when you want to get somewhere, and then all of a sudden it doesn't go according to plan, and then you start out in good time, and then for whatever reason you end up late. But do you know what, Janet? This is just hanging out with friends, and you can always catch up on YouTube or on Facebook. You know, no stress. How's Bea doing? She doing okay? Give her my love. Now let's have a look. So we're going to start with a piece of, this might go a bit blurry, I knew it would. We're going to start with a piece of tracing paper, and I've already cut my 2 in half for the later piece, right, for the later layup. Because I was thinking to myself, as you do, actually, let's put a bit of copy paper behind so that I don't spoil the next sheet underneath, like so. And then we'll pop that in the middle, and we'll we'll tape it into place so that it doesn't move while we're working. Yeah, so I was thinking, well, we could just fast forward and go straight to this. And then I thought, no, we won't. We're going to do this whole process, because I think a lot of you watch anyway. A lot of you watch and then do the job anyway, don't you? Is that right? Now I'm going to use, to do my tracing, I'm going to use quite a hard pencil. HB is good enough. Look, I've been doing pottery, so my nails are starting to look like I've been doing pottery. They've got to come off. I've got a dilemma, I digress. 3rd of May, Buckingham Palace, right? What do I do? Because potteries, this starts again this week. Do I cut my nails off and then go to Buckingham Palace with my hands like that? Or do I just wait a couple of weeks, don't I? Eh? And then, but the trouble is, when you try to do pottery with long nails, you're forever gouging. Yesterday I wrecked a piece. Yeah. But I think on this particular occasion, I may just have to, I don't like false nails. What do you think? Come on, tell me. Do I persevere with these so I've got nice nails when I go to visit the king? Right, HB pencil or 2H, whatever you've got. Nice, sharp nib, and then we'll get going. Right, we'll start over this side. Because I'm left-handed, if I start here, then as I go there, I'm going to just start smearing everything. So I'll start over here, so I'm not, if you're right-handed, you're going to start over here and go that way. Making sense? Good. Right, so what we'll do is we'll trace our image, we'll transfer our image, here we go, onto tracing paper. And this then becomes our template. Let's just curl it around there. And this is so useful. And it's multiple uses. Let me just put this underneath. I'm going to turn it around. Because it's not just for use once. Oh, went a bit off piece there. It's not just for use once. It's for use many times. I can use this. I can go back and forth and trace in reverse, trace back again, just keep flipping the tracing paper. That'll do. Let's have a look. Let's just check what we're doing. Yeah, okay. I have to change it a little bit because that's better. Okay. Right, vase next. Shaping. There we go. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again, right? Keep your eye on the road ahead. Don't keep your eye on the nib. Keep your eye on about a quarter of an inch in front, just like when riding a motorbike. Don't stare at the wheel. Stare at the road ahead. Right. And it will stop you wobbling. Oh, I know this. Right. So this is where our sketch was sketchy, if you'll forgive the expression. Our transfer is a bit more controlled, you see? So we've got, and this is where you can, if you want to change anything, now's your opportunity. You can. But if you're using quite a hard, sharp pencil, it's actually okay. You can, it's quite forgiving. There you go. But you can see exactly where I've been and where I'm going, can't you? Is everybody all right with this? And does it take a little while? It sure does. All good things take time. If you think this is time consuming, you should try pottery or groovy or embroidery. Right, that'll do. Am I doing this right? No. Do you know what? I'm not. Scrap that. I'm supposed to be doing just one layer, kids. Sorry, I got carried away. Right, back in again. That's all right though. Here we go. We're not doing the whole thing on one layer, otherwise it's just a complete waste of effort. Right, should we start again? I forgive. It's all right, the bus driver is now reversing because there's a no entry sign and the bus driver's just started reversing. Right, these ones first. Not thinking. Right, ready? So we're going to do just the outline on this layer. We're just doing the outline of the vases. It's all right. There we go. Outline of the vases. Sorry about that. How many of you were shouting at me that I was doing it wrong? Hey, who was paying attention? Right, vases first. Keep your eye on the road ahead. Keep your eye on the road ahead, great. And down we go. All right, cool. So now we've got our outline. That's all we want. Remember? Easy. That's your first layer. Okay, not too much of a detour. Second layer, inside of the vase. Concentrate, Barbara. Inside of the vase, but this time It's a good job it's not live TV. Right, okay. Now we're going to do the inside of the vase, but without the outline. So you've got to concentrate, Barbara. I'm rubbish at this. It's nice though. It's all right. I only took 5 minutes. I remember when we were kids. Right, this now, right, but without the outline. Ignore the outline, okay? The outline's already there. When we were kids, we used to go to Germany a lot. But I'm going to show you what I've done. Look, see? We'll put that there so we remember. We used to go to Germany because my mum is German. Okay, you know that. And so we used to travel to Germany, and we used to drive. And we used to drive through Holland, ironically. Right, no outline. And we used to drive through Holland. And we used to go to the Hook of Holland on the ferry. And then we drive through Holland. And then we'd go all the way to North Germany to a little village called Wilhelmshaven, Sunday, near Wilhelmshaven, where I was born and where my Opa and Oma lived, my grandparents. So we used to visit them every summer. And I can remember we were going through Holland this one particular time, and my dad was driving, and I was looking out the window, and I saw this windmill in the distance, and I thought, I could have sworn I saw that same windmill about 4 hours ago. I said, Dad, I said, do you see that windmill over there? He said, don't say anything. Don't say a word. And he's gone, can you imagine that? And I'm saying it was a long detour, like really long. And yeah, he'd taken a wrong turn. If you've ever done that run, it is quite confusing. I'll give him that. Right, concentrate so that you don't go. See, the lines and the shading, you don't need to do the shading because really you'll do that. You can copy that. But the lines are a good idea, just to give you that. Now let's have a look. If we take a piece of yellow paper or something, so you can see, let's have a look what we're actually doing there. You see, so you're getting the shape of the vase now with no outline. Got it? Yeah. Good old Dad. I remember we were on the ferry. We used to get a cabin. It was quite exciting. And we used to get a cabin, and it used to go from Harwich to the Hook of Holland. And on this particular occasion, which way were we coming? I think we were coming back. So we were at the Hook of Holland. And we were coming back, and it was really turbulent, like proper stormy. And we were in this cabin. And it's about an 8-hour crossing. It's a long crossing. And so we were in this cabin, and my brother and my mum and my dad and I were bouncing around in this cabin. They were, we got a bit seasick, as you do. And then after 8 hours it was a really rough, turbulent journey crossing. When they knocked on the door in the morning, I can remember my daddy did this now. They knocked on the door in the morning and they said that they'd been some engine trouble during the night of the storm, and they'd had to turn around, and we were back in the hook. With two little kids. Yeah. So there we were then, right? Had to go again, wait, go on the day ferry. But when we went on the day ferry, of course, all the people on the day ferry were on the day ferry too. So it was really rammed. It was choppy. Yeah, and I remember it so well. Well, actually, I remember my dad's temper more than anything. He was not happy. He was not a happy ferryman. No wonder he was in the Royal Air Force and not the Navy. Yeah. There. So no outline on this one. And then I remember once we were on the ferry, and he had a rover, a rover car, and and this, you know, that you get ramps, don't you? Because they stack them in, and so you go up, and then you have to go up a ramp, and then the bloke at the top with the car in front, he stopped at the top of the ramp. So Dad, we were on the ramp like that in the middle. And so Dad was having a moan about the idiot at the front that had just stopped. So he was like that. So he's jammed his handbrake on to stop us rolling back into the, you got to be good at hill starts when you're getting on a ferry. Anyway, so he's put the handbrake on to stop rolling back. And then he couldn't get it off again. He couldn't release the handbrake because he'd over pulled it, and so they had to, all the cars behind us had to reverse. And if you knew my dad, you would know he didn't like to draw attention to himself. He was that kind of guy, he didn't like to be in the limelight. And so for that must have been the most traumatic experience for my father. I can remember we were getting hoisted out by these guys that worked on the boat. They were pulling the kids because we couldn't get the doors open, so they were pulling the kids out the window at the back to get us out of the car. And my mum, right, got out, and then they had to chain drag the car because they couldn't release this handbrake. Yeah. So apparently they had to turn the boat round and bring everybody in from the other side. Boom. Yeah, that didn't go down well. So yes, isn't it funny what you remember? Okay, so I've done my first one. How about you? Nice. Now we'll do the second one. Now remember what we said. Remember, no outline. Outlines on the other layer. All right. Cool. No outline, Barbara. Let's do the circles first. Yeah, those were the days. I bet you've all got really good memories. Silly things like that, eh? There. This is going to be nice. You just have to get your mindset, don't you? You have to get your head in gear. You have to get your head in gear. And just say to yourself, right, no outlines. Right. Because it's certainly easier down the road when you've separated it out. There we go. And because it's quite a sharp pencil, see, it doesn't smear, which is good as well. Is anybody working with me? Or did you all throw your toys out the pram and we went down the wrong road? Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat, never sweat the small stuff. Hey, there's no point in getting upset. Think about what we've all been through over the last couple of years, 3 years, with COVID and lockdown. And I mean, that's why we're here now in the shack. Think about all the things and the chaos, you know, and consider, is it worth getting upset about little things like this? Hey? Absolutely not, my friends. Absolutely not. So we need the lines here now, though, because we're going to put the lines in around our suns. Let's call it suns, right? So just like we did before, let's just put, I'm focusing on this one, see? And then I'm just going to move the lines around, but I'm only going to the outline on the other layer. It's ever so easy, really. Once you get your eye in, just follow it through. I'm not even looking at what's underneath. That'll do. There. So you just move it round. I'm going to go there now. There. Because when we've done this one, then we'll cross over and do another one. Quite a nice design, this. This would make a lovely texture stamp. Jazz, if you're watching, this would be quite a nice texture stamp, wouldn't it? A filler. Right, now let's take this one and let's go the other way now. Has my vase moved? Oh, don't tell me my vase has moved. Something's moving. Why have you moved then? Oh, it's the paper that's moved. There. It's all right. It was just the white paper. It's like, how could you move? I've got you down with low tack masking tape. Right, we're on. Back on track. What were we saying? I've lost my thread. Yeah. Don't sweat the small stuff. I find maybe it's because of all the everything that's been going on during the last, especially the last few months. I must admit that I don't get excited about things like I used to. Do you know what I mean? Which one should we go with here? This is a nice one. I just don't. I don't. No. I certainly am a lot calmer than I used to be, really. I used to get quite intense about things. But now I'm pretty laid back. Does that come with age? Is that an age thing? I don't know. I've met some angry old people. So just there. And that's a lovely thing. It's a thing of beauty. That'll do. I think this one would be a good one to do. So you could do loads. You do as many as you like. But it's definitely a good idea to make the artwork come to you. Let's do this one. That's quite good. See, and if you feel it's getting a bit too busy, well then just don't put a line there. See, I quite like that. What do you think? See, you just hold it up and then decide, do you want any more crossovers? Do a couple in here. Like that. That's quite good. Lift it up to have a look. I think I'll do this one. Just a few lines, don't even have to do them all, look. Just a little bit of noise, isn't it? A little bit of chatter. Where there's a gap, perhaps. That's quite good, where there's a gap. Okay, this one here, I've got a feeling we need this one, so we've got some real contra. Here we go. You know when you think, yeah, I reckon. Because every time the line hits the outside, see, it shows you, it defines the outline. If you don't have any lines going, then you don't get any outline. There, that'll do. Because when we shade these in, then you're going to get your, see when you shade that in like that, that'll give you that. It's nice, isn't it? It's going to be lovely, that one. Right, I've done that one. 1, 2, 3. Right, you ready? Make sure the paper's in the right place. Right, pattern again. And this time, again, no outline. No outline. And we'll go, let's have a think. What should we do this time? We'll do really thin, let's do really thin, very faint dividing lines. And then we can build the bricks. So we're just tracing what we've done, really. There we are. Right, brickwork. Okay, let's just draw the bricks in. And then once, see, that's the other thing that I think, right, when we get together, it's as much as about hanging out together as it is about learning how to do artwork. I mean, this isn't a masterclass, is it? It's just a bunch of friends hanging out together doing a bit of doodling. So it's not like a paid workshop where I'm performing. It's not at all. This is just me showing you some ideas. I reckon this will be really nice when it's done. See, we don't need to fill them all in. We know what we want to do. See, this is going to be a really nice vase. Paul, are we still there? Nobody has admitted to doing the outline. Nahid, 31st wedding anniversary. Congratulations, Nahid. 31. I think if I put all my marriages together, it wouldn't add up to that many. Right. I just finished reading the book Grace narrated, you know, for Audible. God, it's fantastic. It's about Mary Shelley and her mother, Mary Wollstonecraft. I don't know if you're familiar with those names. It's called Her Lost Words. And there. So we still need a bit of art up here. Let's have a look. So we need these bits, don't we? Otherwise we've got no vase at all up there. See? So we're just going to use, we'll use that pattern there. Yeah, so Mary Shelley, she was the woman who wrote Frankenstein. I'm sure you know that. And Mary Wollstonecraft was her mother. It's quite a fascinating story. I mean, it's quite, you know, very sad. God, really. A lot of loss, a lot of tragedy, but it's so well written and so well read. I have to say, Grace and the other lady have done a fantastic job. Grace is Mary Shelley, and the other lady, I don't know, I can't remember her name. She's very good though, Hannah somebody, I think. She did Mary Wollstonecraft, the mother. So the mother really, Mary Wollstonecraft, she really pioneered feminism. She was a groundbreaker on that one. Had an amazing life, and really quite amazing. And Mary Wollstonecraft, Mary Shelley, she had, you know, a tragic life, really. Both of them did, like proper shocking. You know, how young people died in those days. You know, I couldn't believe she was only, I think she was like 19 when she wrote Frankenstein, you know. But because she was a woman, it wasn't in her name. She wasn't acknowledged until 15 or 16 years later. Yeah, it's quite, if you get a chance, if you like Audible, do read it, because it's a real enlightening book and it's based on fact. It's based on fact. And what I kept doing was, I had Wikipedia, you know, and I was fact checking all the time. Is this accurate? Is this accurate? And it was very accurate, you know, because when you read the book, you think that couldn't have happened. When you listened, you think, oh no, really? Fact check, it did. So you listen again. Oh, you're joking. Fact check, yeah, it happened. And so it was, you know, quite an education, that book. And you know, for a woman, I think it should also be mandatory. It should be a compulsory read to know what women went through to give us the vote, to give us our freedom today. Right, so I've done that one, and now I'm going to do the third layer, which is the grasses. Now, where's my piece of? Let me just find. Oh, of course, I don't have a piece of. Wonder where my parchment went. Oh, my tracing paper. Let me just cut a half piece of tracing paper. Good. Okay, next piece for the, and then that way we've separated out our artwork, ready to transfer. And what you could do really before next week is, I'll tell you in a minute. Let me just concentrate on what I'm doing. Right. Okay. Before next week. So now we're going to do the plants on this layer. So let's just check. We've got the outline. We've got the vases with we've got the negative art, no outline. And now we're going to just put the leaves in. These are easy, very easy. Because we've used quite a sharp pencil, what we're going to do is flip to the back, but you can do this easily with a softer pencil and retrace the whole thing again, all three layers, right? So that we can transfer it then onto the watercolor paper. Okay. So I think also what I think is really nice is that it's not speed crafting, is it? It's just hanging out together. I think the more you do this stuff as well, the more you do this kind of artwork, the better you get at it, you know. Do. I mean, if you think about our artwork at the beginning of the SHAC lockdown, not our artwork, your artwork too, not just me. When I think about how far we've come now, it's amazing, really. Here we go. Remember when we did this? That's it. Yeah. Quietly does it. Lots of you are celebrating big anniversaries this year. 38 years, 50 years, 51 years, and 62 years. Gosh. That's amazing. Isn't it? Congratulations, friends. Congratulations. There we go. Now this is going to be a bit more. Nice. When you craft, do you craft in silence or do you craft? See, funny enough, I can't listen to the book like Gracie's book when I'm crafting. I have to concentrate on what I'm doing. But when I'm in the kitchen, I can. Or when I'm doing the housework, driving, then I can. There. But when I'm crafting, I don't. Oh, it's quiet. Right, so there you go. So we've done that, and we've done that. 3 layers. Happy with that, eh? Yeah, that's good. Oh, we've still got a little bit of time left, so that's great. So we can tie this in now. Tea's cold again. Let's tie this in, and I'll show you the next couple of steps. And then next week when we get together, we can move it through to the watercolor paper. So the idea is, if we take these layers now, right? Let's take these layers. We'll just move those out of the way from it. So we've got our 3 pieces. Can use the masking tape again. Right, and then we've got that layer as well. Let's get rid of that one. Right, so that's worth hanging on to. That can be your envelope to hold your bits in. Right, so now we've got these 3 bits. And the first thing we're going to do, right, so we've got these 3 layers. 1, 2, 3. Okay. The object to the exercise, I think sometimes you need to see the end game to understand what we're doing. So the object to the exercise now is to put the shape down, right? We're going to put the shape down and colour it in. And then we're going to put the patterns in so that the green doesn't have an outline. See, it doesn't have an outline. So it needs to be really faded, but it still needs to be visible. So in order for that to happen, what we've got to do, right, and you need to do this on all of them, because we've used a sharp pencil, and also if I do this, right, then obviously the picture's going to be the other way around. So you could, let's just see if it worked on a piece of copy paper for it. All right, well, let's not take a bit of copy. Let's take a piece of watercolor paper, and let's just say I want to use, because these vases are pretty much symmetrical, aren't they? But let's just see if I use the same pencil, whether we can see it or not. I just want to use this one, for example. So if I go like that with the same pencil and I push that through, let's see if it works. Just about. Can you see it? Right? So with this particular design, you could almost get away with using that line. Look, you can see it, can't you? But it'd be back to front. It would be back to front. You've got to know that too. Unless you move them around, and then it's a lot of fiddling. So in order to keep it simple, This is my thoughts on this, because we do want these to be quite light, because we don't want there to be an edge. If there's a dark pencil line all the way around here, then we might as well have inked it up, you know. So here's a thought. We could take this now, the same pencil as we used before, and we'll just put some ink, pencil work on the back, but not a soft pencil, right? Let's have a look. So we know that it will work. We're just turning it round, that's all. So in order to turn it round, I've got to put some ink on the back. Keep saying ink. Lead. Graphite. Right. So now when I turn it over this way, when I transfer this to my to this, I'm just testing it, right? Just so that you understand why we're doing what we're doing. Then when I transfer it, all with the same pencil, there's my line, right? And it's not too bad. You know, you don't want it too thick. Does that make sense now? I can hear another cat now. Okay, so that is why what we're going to take but you need to check your pencil, because if you're using, see, I don't want it to be too dark. I just need it to be visible enough to be able to do the job. Yeah. So the very first thing we're going to do, and we're not going to put this layer down. Let me show you. We're not going to put this layer down. If you want to work ahead of me, I just don't want you to go down the wrong road. First thing we're going to do is put these down. So you need to put some lead on the back so that you can flip it round. So it's in exactly the same aspect. It's the same side, right? And then we're going to put the 3 vases down. Then when we've done the 3 vases, just the 3 vases, don't worry about that one, on here, then we'll put the watercolor down, right? So then we'll do the watercolor in the background, the colors, whatever. We could do a turquoise one or an orange one and a green one, right? But they're going down like that, right? That one, and that one. But they're going to be in the right place. This is an experiment, okay? Then we're going to put the 3 colors down. When we've done the 3 colors, then we'll take this one and we'll add the pattern, right? But when we add the pattern, we also have to have traced on the back too to be able to reverse it. Got me? So your homework, so we don't have to do that again, your homework will be to just redraw this on the back. So in other words, you're just going to take this on this side, flip it over, use the same pencil, right? And then all you're going to do, I mean, if you want to, you could always take a piece of watercolor, right? Like that. And when you're tracing out, actually use the tracing. Not that that will be the one that you're going to work on, if you see what I mean, but it might be worth trying it, so that if you're using your art rather than just on a bit of scrap, use it on a piece of watercolor paper, see, so that you can test your, see that I missed a bit. So look, see? So you can test this. And then what you've done is you've done this on this side, right, all the way down, and you've created this so that when we go to use it on this side, again, transfer, you've got your graphite on that side. Does that make sense? It does in my head. So your homework, if you're going to do this, is just work ahead. All you've got to do is take your pieces of tracing paper, flip them over and draw it again on that side. And the only reason that we do that, you remember this from school, is so that when you flip it back, it still looks the same, and it's not a mirror image, or it's not a reversed image. There you go. How's that? Does that make any sense? Paul says it does make sense. Makes sense in my head anyway. I've got to go to the dentist this afternoon. Yuck. But that's okay, because I wanted to say we've got so many bank holidays coming up that we'll go week by week. Next week is fine. I'll definitely see you at 10 o'clock next week. And next week at 10 o'clock, we're going to start working on the watercolor paper. So do yourself a favor. Make sure you've got some watercolor. It's about stretching yourself. You know, it's about doing something different. If we use stencil card, of course you can. If you want to join in and you just want to use stencil card, listen, you can use a bit of copy paper. You can hang out and drink coffee. It's entirely up to you. This is no competition. There are no experts. And but I believe that if we stretch ourselves a little bit and we do a little bit more, then I just feel that you improve your game a bit. I wrote about it in the blog yesterday. The more you do, the better you get. And the better you get, the more you want to do. And it's all about stretching yourself a little bit, trying something a bit different, you know. And I think that these will be, it's very easy to do, right? But there is a sequence. And let's apply it to watercolor paper, okay? So yeah, if you haven't got the pads, this is lovely stuff, right? It's really lovely quality. And then when we meet next week, I'll also show you how to do that torn edge. Really nice. It's easy. It's easy. It's easy when you know how. All right. And I figured it out. I bought rulers that have got like a decal edge, and they're savage. They're really dangerous. You know, they're sharp. And I thought, no, I'm not gonna sell rulers now that are lethal. I'm just going to show you a softer, gentler way to do it. There we are. So tomorrow, Paul is on television. He's on Facebook. He's not on TV, not on Create and Craft. He's on Facebook in the SHAC on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And then our lovely Tina, just for the diary, here's one. She's on television next Saturday, this coming Saturday, at 1 o'clock and at 5 o'clock. It's always worth watching Tina. She's very gifted. Very talented young lady. So if you get a chance and if you're into your groovy, then definitely be watching out for Tina at 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock on Saturday. And other than that, let me just check. Tracing paper transfer, we've done it. Yeah, pads. Good price. Oh, right. Okay. So it's 15 quid for both. Well done, if you're going to get those. Yep. Sorted. Lots of love. Have a fabulous Monday. Have a great week. Be creative, and yeah, stay safe. And I'll see you next Monday. And Ragnar says bye-bye too. He's absolutely sparko. Lots of love. Thanks very much for your help, Paul. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.